Welcome to Town Talk, the official podcast of the town of Stephenville, where community conversations happen. I'm Marilee Joy Castillo, Communications Manager at the town, and this podcast takes place right here in the Chamber of Town Hall, where, of course, we share updates, ideas, information about what's happening in our community. And joining me today, we have Dynamite Don Gibbon's son, Firecracker Don Gibbon, Fire Chief here at the town of Stephenville. Welcome, Chief Gibbon.
Thank you very much, Mary Lee. It's a pleasure to be here.
And I know everybody in town knows you and knows your dad and your family, and you come from a long line of hard workers and volunteers.
Yeah, very, very, my dad is very, very dedicated to this town, and, he's well known.
Very well known indeed. And of course, I really appreciate you coming in here today and having a chat with us. I know you're fairly new into the fire chief position here at the town, but you've been a firefighter for many, many moons.
Yes, yeah. I started in 89, back in August of 89. So, I'm going into my 36th year. So, seeing a lot of changes in the fire service, seeing a lot of people come and go. And now, like I said, when I was one of the young ones coming in through, now I'm one of the seniors.
Exactly. And let's talk about what are some of the changes that you've seen over the years, for example?
Well, over the years, like everybody's dream, being a firefighter, you see, the fire truck going down the road. You see, the firefighters on the tailboard of the truck, hanging on, right, and all this here, right? And you say, wow, that's fun, right? Well, been there, done that, right? That they're fun sometimes. Wintertime,
depending on the situation, yep.
Summertime is great, but you get the dust and everything else coming up from the back of the truck, right, and all this here. And then, like you said, in wintertime, by the time you get to the fire scene or whatever, right, you're snow covered, like a abominable snowman, right? So, right, yeah, your gear is wet, right?
For sure. Yeah. So it's a little bit different these days.
These days, everything is in the cabs, right? We got 5-seater cabs now, right? And that they're not allowed to ride on tailboards of trucks anymore. So, it's very different, even for our bunker gear, right? Back when our days, we had no balaclavas. We had, orange fireball gloves, long coats, to our knees, long hip waders, that you would do as you were going out fishing, right?
Wow.
And that there. So, your torso of the area, it was not protected as much as what today's is, right?
It's interesting how things change over the years, and it seems like in every job and every organization, and things change, uniforms change, equipment changes, and obviously, for most of the changes, it's for the better.
Oh, yes, right. Like I said, with the cancer-causing agents, right, the carcinogenics and that, the bunker gear now, has to be, really, really, specialized made and stuff like this here. To protect us, right? Firefighting, is a dirty job, right? And a lot of people, get sick from it, right? That there. So, and it's great to see, organizations, fighting and arguing, in order to say, let's protect our firefighters, whether, they're volunteers or wherever they're paid, right?
That's right. Safety first.
Yes.
Always safety first. And why don't you tell us a bit about the Stephenville Fire Department? A lot of people don't realize that this is a career firefighter department.
It is a career fire department. It's also a composite fire department, right? So over the years, back when I started, like you said, back in 89, we had 12 paid career firefighters. We also had 2 deputy chiefs, and we had a chief. And, we responded, to multiple calls right from Stephenville, right even to Cape St. George, right? And, at that time we were basically sending one truck, one man right in that there, and going down to help fight a fire or whatever, right? But Nowadays, we try to stick close to home in our own jurisdictions. We have MOUs for, like different municipalities, right? Like we help out Gibbons. If they need our help, right, and they'll help out us, right? And I'm sure, like I said, any other community, like I said, if there's a disaster, right, we will all band together to help each other.
Exactly. And you've got 9 career firefighters now on staff?
Yes, right. There's 9 career firefighters right now. We have 10 auxiliaries. So, we're looking to increase, hopefully, in the full-time service, right, that there in 2026, that we will be able to get back to our complement of 12, so we'd have our shifts, our 24-hour shifts, 72 off, right? First 24 to 72, you're on call, right? And we want to probably have, be able to have 3 guys on a shift, 3 guys on standby, and have our auxiliaries, they'd be able to back us up besides, right?
And let's talk about the auxiliaries. Like if somebody is out there and they're thinking that they might want to have a career in firefighting, they're not quite sure, or they might say, I've got some time on my hands and I'd like to be able to help out the fire department. How do they become involved?
That is, something, that you have to fill in for an application, right? And basically, if you fill out the application, we'll do a screening process later on down the road, and then we'll do interviews. And if you're successful, then it will send you for medicals and stuff like that, right?
Yep. And you have specific training nights and whatnot for the auxiliaries?
We train on Thursday nights from 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. And then we do, some training days on the weekend, whether it be a 1-day or a 2-day training session, right? So, and hopefully, because, the Marine Institute now, is not here, right? Maybe, we can sort of avail, of some of the instructors that, they have the courses, that are around through the Fire and Emergency Services, that we be able to commute, to different communities and be able to put off certain courses so that they will be able to advance through their thing to get their level 1 or level 2.
Right. So speaking of level 1 and level 2, if somebody does have a career as a firefighter in mind, why don't you talk about what that entails for somebody who might be considering this as a career?
Well, it's a great career. It's a great rewarding career, right? And like say, we just got 2 new recruits, that are hired on, right? They're in their 20s and they're just absolutely loving it. So, they went to the Marine Institute. They did do their programming right? So, if you can accomplish to get your level 1, level 2 certified, then, like say, if you want to apply for an auxiliary, you can. And if we end up putting out a full-time application, right, and you got to meet the qualifications, then,
there's a possibility,
of the thing, right? The great thing is that, a lot of it, right, is that we have a lot of people that are here from home. Right. This is our hometown, and everybody, that pretty well is here has been hired from this area. So, it really, really helps.
For sure. And I know, you think when you think of a fire department, you think fire calls and that's all. But our fire department does a lot more than just fire calls. So let's talk about, I know you also do medical calls, you do inspections. There's a lot more than just being a fire department.
Yes, right. Like you said, the town of Stephenville has an occupancy program. So that program, you go to move into you purchase a place, right, or you move from apartment to apartment, right? It's become vacant, so we have to do an occupancy permit, and that's only protecting you, the tenant or the landlord, to make sure, that is livable, right? It's safe, and that we know, that the protections are there, whether it's smoke alarms or fire extinguishers or whatever that they want to have in that thing, right? we also turn on, they do occupancies, for businesses, right? And Matt was on, the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and, he explained, different things, about the business inspections. Well, we do fire and life safety inspections. So, we got to make sure, you got the emergency lights. We got to, you got to have the sprinkler systems. You got to have, all the stuff, that we are going to say that, that is done and is done yearly. So, it's protecting the public is what we're doing. And it's a great tool. And, we really, really like doing it right in there. It educates a lot of people, right?
That's right. And some people who may have been in their home for years and years and years, maybe they don't realize what they should have for safety in their home. So what is the recommendations or what's required in a household?
So in a regular household, if you have a garage attached to your house, right, we require you have self-closures, door hinges put on so that the door will close. Like I said, if you go out to the garage, it will close, right? And that's protecting you from vehicle fumes or gas fumes or whatever else, right? Not only that, you got carbon monoxide or whatever. Again, like I said, in the house, every level should have an AC smoke alarm on it, especially if there's living quarters in it. So if there's a bedroom downstairs, have to have, a battery operated smoke alarms in there, or if it's a new construction, has the AC with a battery backup in every room, right? And same thing on the upper levels, right? They'd have the battery smoke detectors and the AC smoke alarm upstairs, right? We want to make sure, that people are safe and protected. Like I said, that when they go to bed at night, they're safe.
And what about fire extinguishers?
Well, fire extinguishers, are great to have, right? But it's no good to take it and put it in the cupboard, right? So you have to turn them, they put it at accessible way right there. And put it close to the doorway so that, at least, that if you got a chance to put something out, you back away to the doorway. When you get it, you can get out of the place. You're not going to be trapped inside, right?
That's right. And a lot of people don't realize that, people who have not only propane fireplaces at home, but like even people who have wood stoves, they should have a carbon monoxide detector.
Carbon monoxide, yes, right. Even an oil furnace, you should have, a carbon monoxide detector, right? And, and there is some carbon monoxide detectors that, are built in with smoke alarms and stuff like this here. But carbon monoxide is odorless, right? It's, heavier than air, right? That air. So, it goes low to the floor, right? So, it is where you got to put your detectors, right?
Right. So you shouldn't have it up high on a shelf.
No, right? Not there, right? And talking about detectors, the smoke alarms, right? I should have backed up a little bit. Is that, smoke alarms are only good for 10 years. After 10 years, right, you should get new ones and replace them.
And also changing the batteries.
Change the battery, right? Change the battery again. Like you said, they always say when you put the clock ahead and clock back, right? Change the batteries too. Yeah.
Exactly. So some good things to remember there for safety in the home. And, we touched on the permits and the inspections. So like I said, you guys also have an agreement and help out the EMS services when needed and respond to medical calls.
So we started back around 2019, getting into a program to try and help out the community as first responders. We're not doctors, right? But we turn them we go to their place, right? It's a peace of mind to whoever's having a problem, whether it's a gallbladder attack, right? To stomach pain, to a cut finger or what, right? That there. But again, like I said, we're there, for the first response, do our assessment. EMS comes in, alongside. Sometimes, they're there before us, right? Which is great because, we're not there to do their job. They're there, to do it. And we also help them out whichever way, whether it's a lift assist or it may be right to a full-blown heart attack.
Exactly. So it's great that you guys have that great relationship as well. And all first responders. Well, what do you think some misconceptions are about fire department by the public?
Well, social media is an area that, people turn, they get on and, talk about things, that they really should come back and ask questions before they actually go out and post something, right? And I mean, in the past now, I mean, like I said, we did do a flushing program, I mean, this summer, and going around checking out, I mean, all the fire hydrants, I mean, around town, right? And I mean, it's been a number of years since we've done this. And now we identified, I mean, some of the hydrants that need to be fixed, repaired, or replaced, right? Not necessarily that every one of them that has an out of service tag on it is out of service.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, it may be still operable, right? And we have identified that, right? So, I mean, to say that, there's 20 odd hydrants, I mean, that, I mean, they are out of service and that there, right? Well, that might be that the hydrant is not draining. So we have to turn on, I mean, in the wintertime, we have to make sure, I mean, that we, pump it out or put it, I mean, antifreeze down in it to make sure, I mean, that it don't freeze up. Right. There might be some other ones, I mean, that might be leaking around the base, right? That a gasket needs to be fixed, right? There's still water on it. But again, like you said, I mean, it's problems that we got.
So that's very important for the public to realize that just because you're seeing an out of service sign on a fire hydrant doesn't necessarily mean that that fire hydrant is totally out of service.
No.
You shouldn't have any type of fear that,
no, right?
And
the public got to look at it. We're responding with 2 truck apparatus. And when we respond with 2 truck apparatus, right, we got 700 gallons of water in each one, right? So, I mean, by the time we actually turn and get hose lines off, put the hoses, I mean, to the test or whatever else, I mean, and deploy them, we're on top of the fire, got it under control or knocked down pretty quick, right? Before we actually got to get into accessing a hydrant.
Right. And some communities or some areas, I should say, that you cover don't have fire hydrants.
No.
So there are options.
So we have portable pumps, right? Stuff, I mean, that we can use, right? Or we can draft from a pond, I mean, with our pumper or whatever else, right? We also have porta tank, I mean, a 1,500 gallon porta tank that we can put water into, I mean, and utilize it, right? We just talked, I mean, with various communities, I mean, from Bay St. George South right down to Cape St. George, right, about the fires that were happening over on the East Coast and trying to put a plan together in case something happened here on the West Coast. Right. So, I mean, we even had forestry involved. Right. So, I mean, it's good to have that line of communication to see what everybody had so that what was there to offer in case something happened.
That's right. And as a small department, how do you kind of get ready for or prepare for a larger scale emergency? I know one of the things, like you say, you're just after having a sit down with all these different areas, surrounding areas and whatnot. But in your department itself, how do you guys prepare?
Well, every department or municipality should have an emergency plan. So, I mean, once, I mean, you get your emergency plan together, find out what resources, I mean, you're going to need because, you don't know. Are you going to have a flood? Are you going to have a hurricane? Are you going to have, a big major snowstorm, right? These are things, I mean, that can happen. It has happened.
The flood of 2005.
Right? And yes, right. I worked that day, right? I mean, I worked that night and like I said, coming on to early morning. And it was, and growing up in that area, right? It was heartening to see what happened, right? I knew a lot of people in there. So, I mean, again, my parents were in there, right? And, to see what devastation had done in a short period of time. But you know what?
It can happen really quickly.
Nature is not forgiving, right?
No, for sure. What do you think one of the most rewarding parts of serving your community is?
Oh, boy.
That's really putting you on the spot now. I know. I was thinking it's got to be rewarding, and I'm sure you've got lots of stories from times over the years and like I said, things that have been.
You can talk about, like I said, I mean, a lot of things, I mean, a lot of calls that you go to, right? We're a small community. So, I mean, we know a lot of people, right? And I tell you, boy, I mean, my biggest thing is my crew.
That's right.
You know,
Absolutely. And what do you think? Do you think you can come up with maybe a funny story from over the years? Like, there's got to be something that happened. Because I know, like, just not necessarily even at a call, but just in the department. Because I know we got a few little pranksters out there and people, and I know you're one of them too. So what about something funny maybe that's happened?
well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can probably think about, when I first got hired on, I mean, there was myself and Tim Harnett, and we had to do Monday to Friday, I mean, from 8 to 5. And of course, every day, I mean, it was, you check your trucks, you do the things, you do your training, right? Every Friday was do your exam, sometimes with BAs on, right? Sometimes with bunker gear on, stuff like that. Just to get you used to the breathing techniques and everything else, right? That there. And I guess, I still remember, we were out and we were using a hose washer. And of course, like I said, not knowing what it was like and how it worked, right? Of course, the deputy chief at the time, we start to push the hose through or whatever. He turned on the hydrant. Of course, we got soap, right? And everything else. So, so of course, what do? You grab the hose, and you turn the hose on the deputy chief, right? So then you start running around the fire hall, and then, you go in through one door, right? And because we had two doors,
Yeah.
for the apparatus bay. And of course, then all of a sudden, out come the Jim Andrews, who was the fire chief at the time. What's going on, right? And you get them, with the hose, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Right.
He found out pretty quickly what was going on, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That's awesome. What do you think if you could give the community like a piece of fire safety advice? What would it be?
I would say, your biggest thing is, check your smoke alarms. Make sure, that, everything, is working, right? Once you turn on, you check your smoke alarms and make sure, that they're up to date, right? They are in working condition, right? Check around your property. Make sure, that the property, is clean, neat, and tidy, right? Clean, lighted signage on your property for numbering of your house, right? Is a big thing too, right? We want to make sure, that we get to the correct address, right? And if you got an emergency, dial 911, right? That's
very important. No matter
yes.
what type of emergency you have, 911.
911, you will get to talk to somebody, right?
One of the things that you often do are attend schools and talk to the different grades and teach them about fire safety. And of course, you're always open to different organizations or community groups or schools that want to have somebody come in and give a talk. Why don't we talk a bit about that?
Yeah, we're open to being able to try and accommodate anybody that wants to have a visit for the fire station or us to come out and visit them or whatever. Right, we'll really try to accommodate them. The library sometimes have story time, and we'll go down. They'll read a story to them, take them out, show them the truck. Put them inside and stuff like that. Show them the tools that we have, stuff, right? It's great. Like I said, school time during, Fire Prevention Week, we always throw them, they go to the schools, right? We have different discussions, have a chat, with some of the classrooms, show them the tools that we have, right? Get dressed up, right? And it's a great thing because, like you say, fires are scary for people, especially kids. So, and if you got somebody, that's bunkered out, in full turnout gear, right, that could be a little bit intimidating, right? So, we want to make sure, that they're not scared of us, right? We're the same human being, right? Underneath the suit, right? That, we're there to help.
Exactly. Just make awareness.
It is, yeah.
Good. And we've got Fire Prevention Week that is coming up in October. Usually it's the first week in October. I think this year is October 5th to the 11th.
Right. I think, it's 5th to the 11th, right, for Fire Prevention Week, right? Right now, I'm getting ready, to order some brochures and pamphlets and stuff like this here. That we will be providing to the schools and that they'll be able to, have the kids, they do some things or whatever. We're going to try and do some prizes, for the schools, probably, a pizza party or something like that there, right? So, right. Hopefully,
Something to
like I
look
said,
forward to.
that they'll enjoy it, right? Right. But they got to give us their best picture that they can.
Exactly. Make it lots of fun and make it enticing for the kids.
Yeah.
And we'll look forward to seeing some of those pictures being brought into to us here at the at the town.
Yeah.
And why don't we just run through quickly before we finish up, like a day in the life of the firefighter? What happens from the start of your shift to the end type thing?
Well, in the morning, the crew comes on, right? They change shift. They, between the off-going shift, and the oncoming shift. And, they go out, they start to DI the truck, right? Make sure everything, is in order. Everything is into place. That it is still inoperable and good condition, because we don't know. The shift before may have had a call and actually, they went out and misplaced something or forgot something on the scene or whatever, especially if it's a working fire, right? We always ends up leaving something back at the scene, whether it's an axe, Halligan bar or nozzle or whatever, right? But again, like you said, but that's part of our maintenance, right? So we'll DI our trucks, make sure, everything is in order, make sure our air cylinders are all full, make sure everything is cleaned up, make sure, the water's in the trucks, make sure, that fuel's in the truck, right? And everything, is in good working order. Then, you usually have like your break time or whatever. Have your coffee, tea, or muffins or whatever, right? Sometimes, people bring them in, right? And say, here, thanks for, helping us out or whatever else, right? Which is, it's a great gesture, right? And then they said, and then, it's clean up the round station area, right? There, there's usually sometimes, we do some training, right? But we are very busy when it comes to a lot of preventing maintenance and stuff like this here. Again, like I said, we're helping out the public with medical calls. We're helping public works with service calls sometimes, right there. And like I said, inspections and stuff like this here.
Every day is a different day.
It is. You don't know what is going to be dealt.
Exactly.
Because,
you've got to be prepared for everything.
And it's, you just got to be on top of your game.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yep. Anything you want to add before we end off our discussion today?
Like I said, I'm getting to my end of this career, I guess, if you want to call it. Right?
I think we're not going to let you go just yet.
No, like say we got a good crew. There's half of them are over 30 years there, and they I don't have to tell them what to do. They know what to do, right? That there, and they everybody got a good niche and can read what our plan is. I can say, that, there was people, that came to this community, right, and said, wow, you're a small crew, right, that there. And I said, yeah, we are, that there. But I said, you don't know what we can do, right?
A small crew, but a mighty crew.
It is, right? And one of the former chiefs, was here, and he ended up doing, his big first fire, right? He more or less said, we're going to lose this building. And I said, no, we're not. And after a while, I said, how do you like us now? He said, I'm impressed. Right?
That's right. Yeah, it's amazing. And you guys are a well-trained, well-oiled, I don't want to say machine, but yes, well-oiled, well-trained machine.
Yeah, right. Like you said.
And all together you work well, and you're all one big brotherhood.
Well,
brother and sisterhood, I should say, because I know you do have some female auxiliaries.
Females there too, right? Right? And if you look at it, right, in our years, of thing even when the Marine Institute was here, right? The Marine Institute ended up getting some of our firefighters down there, to become instructors. I was instructor. Chris Butt was instructor. Tim Harnett was a TA. They took a lot of us right from the Stephenville Fire Department to build that, facility. And, it is a number one facility for a training facility, right? And we just wish we could get it back, right? And that there. So.
Yeah, and hopefully we will be seeing that back here in January.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
For sure. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming in and chatting with us today and letting the public know some of the misconceptions that might be out there and letting them know about safety and what they can do to keep their homes and their families safe. We really appreciate that.
Yes, right. And if I could put in one little plug, like you said, because winter is coming on soon or whatever else, right? If you got a fire hydrant, that's in front of your yard or across the street or whatever else, right? If you got time and you're out, shoveling your driveway or snow blowing it or whatever, right? There, right? If you can make a couple of passes around it, it'd be greatly appreciated, right? There, because like you said, we do have, our crew, that's on duty at the time, right? And our public works does a fantastic job. They try and determine, to keep fire hydrants clear for us, right? But again, we're only a small crew, right? But again, we also they got water in our trucks. So, because it's snow buried, right, don't mean, that we're not going to get to it.
Exactly. And I'm going to throw this out at you and see roughly how many fire hydrants do you think there are in the town of Stephenville?
The last time there was roughly about 330 fire hydrants in town. Right?
That's a lot of fire hydrants to have to worry about getting shoveled out every day. And that's something you don't want to be worried about in the case of an emergency.
No. And now we know, that there's new subdivisions, being added in. So, yes, and the industrial area is getting a few buildings up there too. So, yeah, right. So, we could be, hitting that 350 mark now, right?
Very soon.
Very soon.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Chief Gibbon, for coming in here today.
My pleasure. Hopefully that the public, can, understand, where we are, right, in regards to the fire service. And if you got any questions, give us a call. We will turn on answer for.
Absolutely. Yes. Always there to answer questions. And remember, if you have an emergency, call the 911, whether it's a fire emergency, a medical emergency, a police emergency. No matter what the emergency is, 911 is the number to call.
Yes, it is 911.
And if, as you mentioned, if you have any questions or you hear something and you're not sure about, give the town office a call, give the fire department a call.
Sure.
Come in.
Give us a call at 709-643-8378. We'll answer the call, right? We'll do whatever. If you wanted to, set up a time for a station visit, right? Where doors are open. If you're coming in through the summer and you're vacationing or whatever, drop by, right? Say hello, right?
I guess that should be something else we actually talked about, because the fire ban that's been in place now, and a lot of people don't understand why we've got. In this area, I guess we've had more rain than some of the other areas. And, well, why is the fire ban still in for this side of the province when most of the areas of concern are on the opposite side of the province? So why don't we just touch on that real quick?
Well, like you said, the fire ban, it happened, a lot of it, it was on the on the East Coast, right? Over here on the West Coast, right? We did have some rain. We did have some cooler temperatures, and we were lucky that we didn't have. We did have a few. St. George's had a few, brush fires and stuff like that there. But again, like I said, once it's a province ban, right? We follow that, right? So, and right now, the fire ban is on until September 7th. We don't know, what that's going to bring after that day, right? It may continue. It may not continue. We still can use propane fire pits right now.
Because that's a more controlled fire.
It is, right? And there was a little bit of a misconception there, at the beginning, because, before they said, that if you look at the fire index, right, it would say, if it was certain areas and blacked out right there, then it was no fire, zero at all, right there.
Right.
But then Parks NL turn, they would say, that they wouldn't allow generators and propane fire pits and stuff like this here, right? But private parks, right, could, but they didn't come out and say that. Right. So it was a little bit of a misconception, right? And a little bit of inconvenience for some people, right? And I know I like to have my fire too, right? That there, right? But again, like you said, sometimes, it's a bit of sacrifice that you got to do. And just to remember, right? That, there's a lot of people over on the East Coast that's after lost their homes, their cabins, and whatever else, right? Because of whether it was a lightning strike or it was deliberate
human error
or whatever, right? And that there, right? It's unfortunate, but again, like you said, we got a beautiful province. Right.
We certainly do.
And, we want to protect it.
Exactly. And with regards to a propane fire, you don't see flankers, what they call flankers, flying from it as you do sparks coming from it as you do like in a wood fire.
Right. Yeah. Right. Fire pits are great. But you got to there's certain regulations that you got to have, right? That that they're not into the woods, they're not close to any combustibles and stuff like this here, right?
And you should have a screen.
Yes, right. Should have a screen over it, and that there, so that it catches the sparks and stuff like this here, right? Right. Everybody likes to have that big, nice fire pit, right? But just take in consideration, right? Of how you use it.
Exactly. Yes, that's it. That's good. And same thing for anyone who's a smoker.
Sure.
Please don't be flicking it out the window.
Yeah. People, they like to have their cigarette and flick it out, right? It's not something, that happens. If you flick it out of the window, on the highway, right, the sparks travel, and that's why you get, hot spots, right? And we had, summer we had 5 fires on one street, right, all at one time, because like you said, it was different hotspots because of somebody flicking
cigarettes out the window.
Yeah.
Wow. So we've covered lots today with the safety. And of course, if anybody has any questions that they feel we didn't get answered today, feel free to give us a call or drop an email, go on our Facebook page and send us a private message, and we'll certainly get back to you with the answer.
Right. Right. And like you said, again, like you said, if you got any concerns, in regards of the fire safety or whatever else, right, that there, you're welcome to reach out to us. Right? We are here, for the public, right, to answer what we can, right. So, if we can answer it, we will, right, there. If it's a technical question that, it needs further, investigation, right, we will do that further investigation, right.
Excellent. Thank you so much for taking time and coming in today.
You're most welcome, Marilee.
That concludes this episode of Town Talk. So thank you to Don Gibbon, Fire Chief, for joining us here in the chamber. And we will talk to you next week and let you know what's happening in our town.